The story of Queen Bilqis and Prophet Suleiman, ASSM. Most mysterious queen in history, Bilqis, is also mentioned in the Quran. She was the wife of Hazrat Suleiman, ASSM. Bilqis's kingdom stretched from southern Arabia to Africa. Some things said about her seem unbelievable. Some even believe she was half human and half jinn. Did Hazrat Suleiman, ASSM, also have authority over jinns? However, this story begins not with a queen, but with a small bird called the hudhud, hupu. The hudhud was a bird that understood human speech and brought news from far away. It was this small bird that helped a queen who used to prostrate to the sun. If you are ready, let's begin. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. We relate to you, O Muhammad, the best of stories in what we have revealed to you of this Quran, although you were before it among the unaware. Surah Yusuf, verse 3. All the armies had gathered and were waiting for their leader, Hazrat Suleiman, ASSM. This was the most unique army in history. It included humans, jinns, birds, and other animals. Even the wind was under the command of Suleiman, ASSM. Demolition army consisted of infantry and cavalry. The army of jinns remained invisible to human eyes. This army was terrifying to enemies because they could not even see many of its members. Some birds and animals were also part of that army. Among the birds were falcons, hawks, and the hudhud. The hudhud's responsibility was reconnaissance. It would fly long distances to bring news of the enemy and alert the army. During this time, it was noticed that the hudhud was missing. When Hazrat Suleiman, ASSM, arrived, he also noticed the hudhud's absence. In reality, the hudhud was in the land of the Queen of Sheba, Saba, at that moment. It had traveled a long distance and felt it was following some very important news. It kept flying over the city. It seemed as if people were gathering for a large assembly or ceremony. It asked another hudhud present there, "O beautiful hudhud, can you tell me what is happening here?" The other hudhud replied, "People are going to meet the Queen of Sheba. They are going to hold a ceremony where everyone will prostrate to the sun." Hazrat Suleiman's spy bird became convinced that its suspicion was correct. First, it saw the guards standing in wait for the Queen of Sheba. Then it saw the queen emerge from the palace. She raised her hands and prostrated to the sun, and all the people bowed down with her. The hudhud saw all this and began to think about how Hazrat Suleiman alayhis salam would react to this news. It set off back immediately. After many days of tiring flight, it reached where the army was gathered. All the birds surrounded it. A small sparrow said angrily, "Where were you? Our leader Hazrat Suleiman alayhis salam is angry at your absence." The hudhud thought it should meet Hazrat Suleiman alayhis salam immediately. Shivering, it flew toward his tent. At that time, the prophet was eating. The hudhud entered through the window and quietly sat near the table. It was trying to stay away from Hazrat Suleiman's hands. It bowed its head in fear. It slowly offered salam and respectfully raised its head, but its eyes were fixed on Suleiman alayhis salam's hands. Even while speaking, it was only looking at the prophet's hands. It decided that it should speak first. It had learned a lot from its leader and knew that the best way to win Suleiman alayhis salam's heart was to speak clearly and truthfully. "My master, I have brought important news for you from a distant land about a nation you do not know. I saw that a woman of Saba rules over her people. She sits on a magnificent throne and has everything a ruler could possess." The hudhud was showing that the reason for its delay was important. It was on a sensitive mission. Hazrat Suleiman alayhis salam said, "Certainly, we must examine whether what you are saying is true or not. I will write a letter. You will take it and see how those people respond." The hudhud took the kind letter and flew swiftly toward Saba. When it arrived, it took the letter in its beak, entered through an open window, and hid behind the curtain decorations. It saw the queen sleeping on her bed. Her hair was scattered on the pillow. Her face was very beautiful. Her beauty was astonishing. The hudhud thought that if Hazrat Suleiman's army fought the people of Saba, the result would be clear. The queen is powerful, but she cannot defeat the prophet's army. Her nation would be conquered very easily. The Hudhud was thinking whether to drop the letter now or wait for the queen to wake up completely. Meanwhile, the queen opened her eyes and saw the letter in front of her. She immediately started looking around, but no one was visible. Panicked, she picked up the letter and read it silently. This message is from Suleiman. In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. The queen got angry and looked around again to see who had brought the letter. She called the guards and asked, "Who dared to enter my room? Who did this?" The guards were astonished. They said that no one had entered the room. They were guarding with their swords drawn and eyes open. They swore that no one had come near the queen's room. In the meantime, the Hudhud was listening to everything, hidden in a small hole. Queen Bilqis shouted, "Then where did this letter come from?" She held up the letter in her hand. The guards tried to guess, but no one had seen the letter bearer. They were confused and could not say anything. Queen Bilqis immediately called an important meeting of her ministers and advisors. In the meeting, Queen Bilqis said, "My advisors, I have received a very important letter. It is from Suleiman. He begins his letter in the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. He says, 'Do not be haughty against me, but come to me in submission.' What do you think?"
What should we do?
One advisor said, "It means King Suleiman wants us to bow before him. This sounds like an invitation to war. We should fight." Another said, "We are powerful. Let us show our strength and fight." Most advisors supported war, but a wise advisor suddenly asked, "Where is the messenger who brought this letter? Only he can explain Suleiman's true intentions to us." Queen Bilqis replied that she did not know. She said that when she woke up, she found the letter on her bed. One advisor said, "This is a bit scary. My advice is that we should wait. If Suleiman can send a letter in such a strange and powerful way without any visible messenger, then who knows how powerful he will be in war? Therefore, we should wait." Then Queen Bilqis said, "When kings attack a country, they destroy everything and make the honorable people weak. I fear the same might happen to us. My advice is that we send gifts and then see what response we get." No one objected, so this advice was accepted. The Hudhud heard the entire conversation. As soon as the meeting ended, it flew away. An announcement was made in the Queen's kingdom that the gift would be made of gold and jewels. No matter the cost, it should be magnificent. The people said to the Queen, "Suleiman is a very powerful and fearsome man. Only a very precious gift can please him. Our future depends on his will." The kingdom's craftsmen began working day and night. They used many precious items. Finally, the gift was ready. It was a golden tray with 2 wolves made of gold and jewels on the edges. When Queen Bilqis saw this beautiful and precious gift, she was happy. She prepared her messengers to deliver it to Suleiman. She also sent a commander of her army so he could assess the strength of Suleiman's army. They told their messengers, "Find out what Suleiman really wants from us and how powerful his army is." Hazrat Suleiman, alayhi salam, had already received news of the Queen's meeting through the Hudhud. The Hudhud, flying over the border of the kingdom, had seen the caravan of messengers and quickly went to inform Suleiman, alayhi salam. Suleiman, alayhi salam, understood that the Queen was sending gifts and her real purpose was to gauge his intentions and military strength. Therefore, Suleiman, alayhi salam, ordered his army to be ready and stand in lines to welcome the Queen's messengers. He also sent his men to meet the messengers. Hazrat Suleiman's only goal was, "I want them to give up even before meeting me." Queen Bilqis's messengers suddenly came before a massive army. They started counting the soldiers and saw which animals were included in the army. Their astonishment knew no bounds when they saw that in Suleiman alayhi salam's army, there were not only humans, but also lions, tigers, elephants, birds, and other animals. They also saw that the army could move from one place to another through the wind. Their eyes widened with wonder, and their mouths hung open. This army was like nothing they had ever seen, magnificent and terrifying. It was clear they could never compete with such power. When they saw some weapons moving on their own, their fear increased further. They looked at each other and asked in panic, "What is this?" The officer showing them the army replied calmly, This is just a small contingent of jinn soldiers doing their morning training." The messengers became even more astonished, and their anxiety to meet Sulaiman alayhis salam increased. But Hazrat Sulaiman alayhis salam refused to meet them directly. Instead, he sent one of his commanders to talk to them. The officer invited them to Sulaiman's palace for lunch. When the messengers looked around, the gifts they had brought seemed very small and ordinary to them. Still, hesitating and feeling shy, they brought the gifts. The officer took the gifts into Sulaiman alayhis salam's room, but returned with them a few minutes later. He placed them on the table and said that Hazrat Sulaiman alayhis salam had refused to accept the gifts. Then he delivered Sulaiman alayhis salam's message, "Do you provide me with wealth? But what Allah has given me is better than what He has given you. Take back your gifts. If I bring my army, I will show such power that you cannot even imagine. I will expel you from your cities in disgrace." The messengers were terrified. One of them asked the officer, "What does Sulaiman want? Tell us clearly so we can deliver the answer." The officer replied, "Sulaiman alayhis salam wants only one thing, that your queen and your nation bow before him." Sulaiman alayhis salam was very angry internally, but he did not let it show and said, "How can it be that we stand holding the flag of Tawheed, oneness of God, and people still worship the sun? This is both our weakness and a matter of regret." At this, the commander of the army raised his sword and said, "Just give the command. I will annihilate Queen Saba's throne and her nation which denies Allah." But Sulaiman alayhis salam said, "I do not like bloodshed. We should find another way. I hope the queen comes to meet here. But before she arrives, who can bring her throne to me?" A powerful jinn said, "I can bring it. You know how much power I have." But then a scholar, whom Allah had granted special knowledge, ilm iladunni, said, "I can bring it to you before you can even blink." As soon as Sulaiman alayhis salam accepted his offer, the throne appeared in the blink of an eye. Everyone was astonished. The throne was very large and extremely magnificent. The Hudhud also watched this scene in amazement. Meanwhile, in Saba, the queen and her war and advisory council had gathered. The queen said, "Today we are going through a very difficult time. Sulaiman wants us to bow before him. He is talking about destroying our power. I want you all to suggest a better way." The advisors suggested that perhaps they should try sending gifts. But if he rejects those gifts too, there will be no way left except war, and this war could erase us from history. Everyone looked to the queen as their last hope and asked her to take the step. Consequently, the queen decided to take the risk and dispatched gifts. Hazrat Sulaiman alayhis salam knew that the queen took pride in her industry and progress, but he wanted to teach her an important reality, that true greatness and progress lie only in being close to Allah. If a person gains the whole world but loses Allah, everything is useless. And if one finds Allah, even if the world is lost, nothing is gone. For this purpose, he not only ordered her throne to be brought, but also had some changes made to it. Seeing the symbol of the sun on the throne, he said, "How foolish it is for a human to worship the sun. Even if the sun were made of gold, it is still wrong to bow before it." He ordered that some parts of the throne be changed so that the queen's pride would be broken. Then he called his best architect and said, "I want such a palace over water that it appears to be floating. Its floor should be transparent so that the flowing water underneath is visible." The architect said, "If the help of jinns is obtained, it can be built in 2 weeks." Sulaiman alayhis salam gave permission and said that the floor must be entirely of glass. The architect further said the roof should also be of glass so that sunlight falls on the water and creates a very beautiful scene. The walls should also be transparent so the queen realizes the reality of this world and the power of Allah. When Queen Bilqis reached near Hazrat Sulaiman alayhis salam's territory, the Hudhud was waiting for her at the border with an officer. On the way, the queen saw extraordinary sights. Everything her representatives had described was true. This land was not run by the power of ordinary humans, but by extraordinary powers given by Allah. The army was a startling collection of humans, animals, and jinns. The queen's heartbeat quickened, her breath became heavy. She realized that her own kingdom's progress was nothing compared to this great kingdom. As soon as she entered the city, her pride began to break, and fear turned into respect and honor. Suleiman alayhi salam's kingdom was unparalleled not only in wealth, but also in beauty and craftsmanship. Pillars of gold, precious stones, and rare carvings were everywhere, enough to leave a person in awe. But the most astonishing thing was the glass floor under which water flowed. It looked like a deep pond. When the queen started walking on it, she thought it was water, and she tucked up her clothes. At that moment, her feet were revealed. This was the moment where the centuries-old debate surfaced. Why was there a rumor that Bilqis was half human and half jinn? Some ancient traditions say her mother was human and her father was a powerful jinn. That is why people thought her feet were not like those of humans. But when Suleiman alayhi salam saw her feet, he became convinced that she was a complete human. In this way, their test was completed. When the queen reached the throne, she was shocked that it was her own throne, but changed. She said, "It is as if it were it." Suleiman alayhi salam had placed a message under it saying that we are the prophets of Allah, and everything happens by His command. The queen became lost in thought and began to understand the reality that the sun and worldly powers are nothing. Real power belongs to Allah. Suleiman alayhi salam explained to her that even the sun is a created servant of Allah. Birds, flowers, trees, all move by His command. Then why should a human bow before the sun? This is a deception of Satan. For the first time, true light began to enter the queen's heart. She also scolded her advisors and said, "You too remained in deception, considering the sun is God. Satan put us on the wrong path. Now I accept the truth." At that very moment, she accepted faith and became a Muslim. After that, her nation also embraced Islam. Thus, an entire nation came into the light of guidance, and all this happened because of the courage and insight of that hudhud bird who delivered the truth. After Queen Bilqis accepted Islam, Hazrat Suleiman alayhi salam seated her near him and spoke with great gentleness and wisdom. The queen saw such humility, forbearance, and radiance in a king for the first time. She was amazed that despite having such a large kingdom, such a massive army, and such extraordinary powers, there was not even a shadow of arrogance in Suleiman alayhi salam's heart. Instead, he attributed every success to the mercy of Allah. Suleiman alayhi salam asked the queen, "Why did you consider the sun as God?" The queen replied, "I saw this since childhood, and my scholars taught me the same. I never reflected on the reality. Today I have learned that the sun gives light but is itself in need of light. It shines only when Allah commands." This conversation pleased Suleiman alayhi salam, and he said that a person who understands the secrets of Allah becomes a special servant of Allah. Then Suleiman alayhi salam showed the queen those secrets of his kingdom that were not possible for ordinary humans. He ordered the jinns to show different wonders. One could build a palace as large as a mountain in moments. Another could bring precious things from the bottom of the sea. Another could cover thousands of miles in moments. The queen was amazed at every scene, and her faith grew stronger that all this is the power of Allah, not of man. One day, Suleiman alayhi salam took the queen to the most private part of his palace and told her that real power is neither in jinns nor in the army, but in prayer and faith. The person who is close to Allah, the world becomes subject to them, but the one who becomes distant from Allah remains weak even if they possess the power of the whole world. Hearing this, the queen wept and said, "O Prophet of God, I considered the world everything for myself all my life, but today I have known that the real kingdom belongs to Allah. My heart will never turn toward worldly pride again." After that, Hazrat Suleiman alayhi salam began the queen's training. He taught her the principles of wisdom, justice, and fairness. She took every lesson to heart. Then, when the queen returned to her kingdom, she was not the same as before. There was now light in her eyes. the mention of Allah on her tongue, justice in her governance, and kindness for her subjects. She gathered her people and said, "I am your same queen, but my heart has changed. I have found the truth, and I want you to find that light too." After that, oppression ended in Saba, the light of justice spread, idolatry ended, and the voice of Tawheed was raised. It is said that Allah showered special mercy on Queen Bilqis, and her rule became stronger than before. People began to give examples of her wisdom and her decisions. Her relationship with Suleiman alayhis salam did not remain just that of a king and queen, but was like that of a teacher and student, a guide and a believer. The story of these two became proof that when pride ends in the heart and the truth is accepted, Allah takes a person to heights where even the powers of the world cannot reach.